Hello everybody and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. Sorry about that. I actually jumped on the wrong page to start with, but we are here. But as I was saying, we're going over the last chapter of Thinking for a Change with John Maxwell, enjoying the return of the bottom line thinking. So we are going to go ahead and invite some people onto here really quick, or as quickly as I can. This is always a very slow process.
Oh, those are so funny.
Alrighty. So here we go. So the bottom line thinking is just really figuring out what is the end result that you want. So how does the bottom line thinking help you? Number one, it provides great clarity. Until you know where you want to be in the end, you're not really going to know exactly how to get there. And a lot of people say, well, I just want to be successful. I'm like, okay, but what exactly does that look like? Just saying I want to be successful doesn't give you a clear picture of where you're going to be, and you can't plan properly of where you're going to go. Number two, it helps assess every situation. So when you know your bottom line, it becomes much easier to know what you're doing in that given area. Number three, it helps you make the best decisions for obvious reasons. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to know what to do, and it's what is going to take that. What is the biggest priority? What needs to get done first in what order? Number four, generates high morale. So when you recruit a person, it's important to get them some wins under their belt, to get them paid, promoted, and that creates excitement. And the larger the team grows, that people can see it grow, and the more morale everybody starts to have. Number five, it ensures your future. So how do you enjoy the return of the bottom line thinking? You first need to identify what is your real bottom line. Like I said, a lot of people like to say, I just want to become successful. I'm like, okay, but what does that look like to you? Everybody's definition of success is different of what you want. So you have to identify what it is that you want, and also what does the team want too, or what is going to be the goal of the entire team. Because there's the goal of the team, and then there's the goals, your personal goals, and you need to identify both. Number two, make the bottom line the point. Sometimes companies, the mission is not congruent with the bottom line. And you need to make sure that everything lines up for your organization to work properly. Otherwise, people are going to get confused and confused of what they should be doing. A confused person does nothing. If they don't know exactly where they're going and what the end result's going to be, they're not going to do anything. Or if you give them too many options, they're definitely not going to go anywhere. Number three, create a strategic plan to active the bottom line. What's the game plan? What's the daily plan? Where do you want to be at the end of the month with your numbers? And then what is the goal for the year? Setting those up with the numbers of like, okay, this is what I want to produce at the end of the year. What do I need to be doing daily to be able to get to those numbers? Number four, align the team members with the bottom line. Make sure your people line up with your strategy. Team members should know the big goal as well as their individual role in achieving it. So they need to know their personal bottom line and how it works to achieve the organization's bottom line. So everybody needs their own personal goals, but it still has to line up with the overall goal of the team. What exactly is it that you guys are striving for? Where do you want to go? And then number 5, stick with one system and monitor the result continually. So continually changing your system leads to failure. If you're always changing direction, you're going to lose your people. Because what it does, you lose clarity when you always do that, and people don't want to stick around. People do not like things to change all the time. People are very resistant to change. Now, with what we're doing in network marketing, it is very uncomfortable for people, because especially if people are just used to working regular jobs, this is out of people's comfort zone. But since it is out of their comfort zone, if you still continue to change things every few months, you're gonna lose people, because they're like, this is scary, like I never know what I'm gonna get. And people get very uncomfortable. They're like, they need to have clarity of what's going to be going on in security to know like nothing's going to change. This is what we're doing. I don't need to learn it. Like, they come in expecting exactly, knowing and expecting what's actually going to happen. So when a system is in place and it's working, leave it be. Now, it never hurts to see what can we do to do better, but if you're completely changing the entire bottom line every single time, people freak out and they leave. That's just what happens. And then it's just a constant, you have to constantly be bringing in new people to try to bring in more leadership to build. But the problem is those people will not stay, and you're going to be stuck with a bunch of followers, because you're always going to need new people. You always need to be bringing in people anyway, but you're not going to be able to keep people long enough to be able to develop leaders where it's not just you. So with that, that's what I got out of this chapter. Jeff, what did you get for takeaways?
I mean, similar. The system, just having one system that you figure out, think it through, make sure that it has all the right pieces to it, and then you implement it and kind of just refine it. So it's like the principles stay the same. The way in which it's trained, right now we're on Zoom and Facebook Live instead of live, face to face. So sometimes your format changes, your ability to how you're getting in front of people, but the information really stays. The principles themselves kind of stay the same. Dave Sutherland, that Mr. John Maxwell works with, he says, believes that some organizations get into trouble by trying to mix different systems. He says, maintain that many kinds of systems can be successful, but mixing them continually or changing from one to another usually leads to failure, which isn't good. So, again, you want to pick something that works. Now, in saying that about the system, when it comes to advertising and marketing inside of direct sales, the way in which you get in front of people, how you find people, that changes. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about how marketing, he's like, never fall in love with one marketing strategy, because marketing strategies do change. Advertising changes, marketing changes, as Gary puts it, marketers ruin everything. Email was amazing until marketing came in. Facebook was great. Remember when it was just pictures, and now it's 7 million, ads, and, of course, people screw it up too. You've got the political stuff on there, and you have the I hate this person and who you should hate on top of, all the other garbage that's out there. So marketers ruin everything. Instagram became amazing when Facebook started doing all of it, so we're like, okay, finally, we're going to get it right. And then Facebook bought Instagram and ruined it too. So it just, and when I say ruined it, they ruined, certain parts of it. Yes, you can still get in front of people, but you can get in front of less people, because now it's all about the algorithm to be able to sell stuff and promote what they want to promote. It has agendas to it. Holding a weekly key meeting to cover the following things. What are last week's goals? What did you accomplish? What are this week's goals, and why are you building what you're building? So that's kind of like one of the things that I got out of how he sits down and makes sure that you're kind of figuring this out. what is the bottom line? What are you trying to get to? There was another note here somewhere that I put down. Oh, here we go. Profits determine if you are succeeding, but dollars sound not always to be the primary measure of success. So what is our business? Who is our customer? And then he kind of goes into what is your, he doesn't say it directly, but indirectly, he says, what is your vision for your team? And that's where I actually came up with Team MVP is mission, vision, purpose. That's where that actually comes from. Mission, vision, purpose. So knowing your mission is how you're going to do something. Your vision is where you're going to be at a certain destination and time, and your vision is, your purpose is why you're doing what you're doing. So it's how you're going to do it. It's where you're going to end up in a certain period of time. So casting a vision is nothing more than basically describing a picture of where you're going to be at a certain moment in time. And the clearer that picture is, usually the bigger the buy-in if people have bought into the leader first, as John puts it, because you buy into the leader before you buy into the vision. Because when you're clear about your mission, corporate goals and operating objectives kind of flow from it. So he's like, once you get that down, once you get that clear vision of exactly where you're headed, everybody can see the picture that they're putting together. And that's one of the key things. You got to be able to put the picture together. Now, if you don't have any of the other qualities of a leader, you're going to describe the picture and people are like, nope, I don't see that happening. Yes, it could happen, but not with this person leading. So when it comes down to it, it's kind of like, once you know why you're doing what you're doing, once you know how you're doing what you're doing, and once you know where you're headed, all of a sudden, all the other pieces of the puzzle work as long as you have a system to get there. Because then it becomes about, I was watching this cool training from Jordan Belfort, and he talks about strategy. He goes, once you have a strategy to get there, and a lot of the strategy is, making an airtight case for why people should join you on whatever run you're going on. It could be something as simple as going camping. You have to kind of have a strategy for convincing people to go out into the woods and not get eaten by bears or mountain lion or whatever kind of animals are out there. My point is, you got to have this strategy of how you're going about what you're going to do. So it's another important piece of the puzzle. And then you throw in your value system and morals on top of all that, because obviously if you don't have character, if you don't have the value system set up, then people are like, well, you want that, but want it at any cost isn't necessarily the best way to go about it. We're not going to lose track of what our value system is by going and getting it. So that's just another important piece of the puzzle, which again, you have to buy into the leader before you buy into anything else. But that's basically what I got. I think this is a really, really cool book that kind of teaches you how to look at something from this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle. So if you've never really been taught to ask those kind of questions, which ironically is one of the next books we're going to talk about, if you've never been taught to ask those questions, because thinking is nothing more than asking questions to yourself and then coming up with answers, and also looking at who are the other people in the field that I need to talk to. So that's what I got.
All right. And tomorrow is Wednesday, so the show will be on Bess's channel, and that's Bess McCarty. So if you would like to join her there, you can. And she's going to be doing the introduction to the new book that we're going to do, which is Good Leaders Ask Great Questions by John Maxwell. So that is the new book that we are going to be going over. And again, that will be on Bess's page. Each one of these videos is going to be shared to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group, as well as downloaded to YouTube, so you could go follow us there as well. And if you guys would like the notes, we are posting these notes on the wall there, so if you'd like the little cliff notes of what we got out of the chapter, you can have those. But I do recommend that you buy the book. You're gonna get more out of this stuff reading than you are listening to us, because you'll listen to us, but you're gonna lose like 80% of the information. But when you write things down and take notes on the stuff that you're reading, you're going to retain 90% of that info. So you can watch us. I don't mind you watching us. It's good, but you need to read the book too, because if you are serious about actually developing a team and moving forward, you do have to take some responsibility and actually learn these skills so that way you can apply them better. So with that, that is what we have for today. And you'll see Bess tomorrow, but we will see you on Thursday.
Her book's not in, so we're going to go do that. Yep.
Oh, we're going to do the introduction. Okay,
so
never mind.
With us.
It'll be with us.
Yep.
We'll see you tomorrow.